your domain if you're interested in a domain. Look it up on Google Domains, GoDaddy, whatever works for you. I don't have any particular ties to either one. I've used them both. Very, satisfied with their service. And then you got to lock it down. Reserve that name, buy the domain. Get it locked in so that it's something that you can start working with. Okay. All right. So, believe it or not, this is very organic. So, again, I was sitting with a lot of mentoring clients, and they would say to me, I'm thinking that they're wanting to know, how do I go find my first deal, or how do I get funded, or how do I figure out the estimating, cost of the rehab, cost of a particular project or whatever. That's the things I'm thinking they're wanting to know. And no, they correct me right out of the gate and they say, no, 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 I want to know, like, how do I actually create my business? So, and they skip a lot of these steps and just start doing things without some of this being done. So, if you want to protect yourself and your personal assets, you do want to go through this process. Okay. It does take a little bit of money, but it's worth it because you're protecting your personal property if you're creating an LLC. So, you want to register your business. You want to do it with the Secretary of State. And then, of course, keep in mind that each year you have subsequent and annual filings. So you don't just do it once and then walk away. You have to put in these annual reports and pay a fee for that. So it is something to, consider and think about and plan for. The second is IRS. So you have to have a federal EIN number or employer identification, or I forget the exact acronym, but something along those lines. It's a tax ID number. Okay. You're going to need that to open a bank account. Without that, they won't open up a business bank account for you. Okay. So who creates and registers your business? You're going to have a registered agent. So I highly recommend using an attorney. Lacking that option, you can go onto LegalZoom and go through those parts. I'll let Kathy or whomever weigh in on that. So also, you want to, in creating that business, you have to have articles of incorporation and you need to have an operating agreement at a minimum. Those are the things that come along with that creation when you register your business with the attorney or through LegalZoom. And they'll take you through those steps. Okay. So when you open up your business bank account, like I said, you have to have that tax ID number. If you don't have it, and believe me, they will literally take your information and they will put it right into their computer, and they have the state website right up there. They plug in that name. If it doesn't come up and they can't validate that and verify it, then the business account does not get opened. Okay, so you need to do that. So open up your bank account in order to operate. If you're, receiving funds, you're paying out funds, all those things, you want to make sure that you can do that with your business account. One of the biggest things I learned on day one was don't ever mix your personal and your business funds. And I wrote commingle and I thought it was CO, hyphen mingle or something like that. And then the spell check corrected me to commingle funds. And that's the correct spelling. So I was like, wow, I learned something doing this presentation too. So it was pretty cool. But you don't ever want to mix those funds. It's kind of called piercing the corporate veil. You don't want to have anyone be able to get at your home or your personal property because they have a claim on something regarding your business, rental property or whatever the case. Okay. Again, any questions on all of that stuff, talk to your attorney, talk to your accountant. Those are the experts with those things. So, and your banker too, the person at the bank that helps you with that. They can give you some great advice too. So the next step, as far as beginning on the business side, is, believe it or not, I know this is going to sound like a real common, obvious thing, is you have to get cards. When you're going to these different meetings, you're going places, you're networking, you need to be able to share your contact information. And there are so many amazing ways now that you can do that. And I'm going to give you a little hack right now for one of those. The first thing is, obviously, you can go on to anything from Vistaprint to whatever to make up cards, really inexpensive. Second option, you can go to your local office supply store, buy that little do-it-yourself box, make your own cards. Okay, if you don't want to spend a ton of money, which by the way, it's not really a ton, but it's totally worth it. So you can go ahead and buy the kit, or even better, you can actually go and, please don't report me to Vistaprint for telling you this, but if you go onto Vistaprint and you create your card and it's in the proof stage on the screen, you can actually send that to yourself. So it's on your phone and you can take a screenshot of it, kind of a, little screenshot, and then crop it. So it's just the card that's showing at that point. Save it to your phone gallery. And every time you meet somebody, you can just hand them that card. Send them that card through your phone. And what that does is it's a really cool way to get their phone number. So if it's somebody that you want to make sure that you have their contact information as well, because I can't tell you how many times I've handed a card to somebody and of course they don't ever call me, but if I had their number, then I could kind of, follow up with them. So I've learned to always do that. So this way you can say, hey, what's your number? I'll send you my digital card. And then, you've got their contact information saved, they've got yours, and they're like, wow, that was pretty cool. So it's kind of a, another little business hack, especially with networking, because people don't like to spend money on cards or bring them or they run out of them. So having a digital card is pretty cool. And you can always update it on the fly. So if your website changed or your phone number changed or whatever, you decided to call yourself a different title, whatever it is in your business, you can change it within seconds and then have it on your phone and get ready for the next meeting you're going into. And at that time, you're collecting all of those phone numbers so you can network and you can follow up with people. So I think that's a pretty useful and valuable tool to have, is that business card in whatever shape form it is in. Okay. All right. So now you have a name, hopefully, and you have your cards. So what's next? So the big question is, and I get this a lot, do you need a website? It depends. First of all, Tria gives you one for free with your membership, if I'm not mistaken. Is that still true?
That is still correct.
Yay. Okay. So then you want to think about, what is your content? What is your purpose? Who are you talking to? Just like if you're going to do a presentation and walk in front of a room at work, to a conference room, to a client, to whoever, who are you talking to? What do you need to say? So you have to think about who your target audience is if you're going to have a website, and also when you're making your business card too. We're going to talk about that in a second a little bit more. But who is that audience? Who are you trying to communicate to? So on your website, you have to have kind of a clear content of, is it going to be the person that I'm trying to drive to my website so that they can put in their house information because they want to sell their house and I want to make an offer? Or is it somebody else, somebody else in the business to business world, or, so think about who your target audience is. And when you're creating your website, put that in, put that content in there based on that. Think about it, a little bit at least. Okay. And then, of course, with the world that we're in today, where do you want your social presence to be? Where is it the most effective? Is being in Facebook groups effective? Is, everywhere that you are going to share that website, people are going to be driving back to that location that you're giving them to click on, right? So that hyperlink, so to speak. So you have to think about, do I want to be on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, or whatever, think about what you're doing, who you're talking to, and the message you're trying to get across to determine where you want that social presence. And then really track it. What is working for you? What isn't working for you? And then work on, playing up those strengths, so you can have more impact with less work, kind of the work smarter, not harder thing, right? And then network in person, online at this point, but everywhere. I can't stress that enough. I started to tell Andrew a few little stories earlier. So I'm going to share a couple with you. So in line at the store, I can't remember how many years ago now it wasn't that long ago, but I was helping out with, I went to go look at one of our flip properties, and there was some last minute things that we were doing, and I wore some pants that had paint on them. So here I am standing in the line at a store, and the person makes a comment, oh, you have paint on your clothes. And I said, I used it, it's my opportunity at that point, right? So I said, yeah, I'm flipping a house down the street. And they were right away like, what, you're flipping a house? Where? So that got the conversation going. I gave them my card. I tell them that I pay out referral fees for homes that we purchase that they refer to us. So I'm giving them something, a reason to call me, but I also get their information and all of that. So the next is obviously, and you can't be shy. I'm sorry to say, but you just got to be able to talk to people, and break the ice. There's always a way, I promise. At church, huge opportunity. Be wary of the fact that you're in a trusted environment. So be transparent, be trustworthy, good intentioned. Don't take advantage of people. You're at church, So if you're gonna put yourself out there, do the right thing, and stand by your word. Other gatherings as well. Obviously, it could be any kind of group situation, barbecues, parties, and so on. Specifically, if you're going to attend real estate investing meetings, and non-real estate investor meetings, meaning that if you're in the networking at a TRIA meeting, say, you've got a lot of people on the same kind of like-minded, situation, but they could be coming from very different standpoints, and their thinking and their business models and what they're accomplishing, what their experience level is, all of that. So you want to think about, what can I say to that person that will make them want to talk to me and give me leads or whatever it is I need from them. So think about that, which is you're called your elevator pitch, so you want to develop something. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But the non real estate investor meetings that might have to do with on meetup.com, for instance. I know I've said this in the past, and I always get comments, but believe it or not, there are a ton of social meetups on there, and some of them are like Star Trek fans and fans of the Marvel universe, so you could be going to a meeting like that, just for fun, social, and you bring it up and say, hey, by the way, we're here to talk about this. We had a great time, but here's my card if you ever hear of this, or, and you're bonding, you're building rapport. So put it out there. Why not? You have to jump into the fray. Okay. So I actually put fray, the definition, there because when I put it on there, somebody said, what's fray? So I was like, well, I'm going to have to look it up so that I can make sure that I am giving the right word here, sharing the right word. So fray is actually kind of getting into a competition or a contest. So you're jumping into it because, you're putting your iron in the fire, because you're going to be competing, putting in offers, buying properties, putting stuff out there. So it is, definitely a bit of a skirmish out there. Okay. So, all right. So you want to avoid the top 10 mistakes when creating and ordering the business card. I know we talked about this already, but there is a wonderful site here called Complete Connection. It's at the bottom, and it tells you all of these 10 mistakes that people do. And I'll just real quick go over them. So getting the wrong style. There's actually different styles. There's styles where they're, on this, lateral and, vertical and all of these different horizontal, vertical, I should have said, but there's all kinds of different styles. So you want to do something that fits, right? Dimensions matter. I've seen some where the writing is literally so small that I have to not only put on glasses, but like do the whole hold it at the end of my arm thing and, try to figure out what it says. It's really hard to read the letters on an email or on a website with the wrong dimensions. Also, sometimes people try to use the business card as a brochure. They say that's not a good idea. Also, all the different typefaces, all the different, fonts can be really creative, but can also be very put offish, kind of off-putting. So outdated information, update it. I'm guilty of that right now. I actually have to update my business cards because we have some outdated information on them, but they're on order. White space. That's really huge. You don't want to leave a ton and you don't want to have too little either. So it's kind of like a balance there. Grammatical and spelling, please check. There's so many times that that happens. I'm in shock. Compromising on quality, it's not that much money to print on the back, which is in number 10. And then the use of color. So I'm not, an artistic as far as like designing business cards. It's not my profession, but definitely you see a bad one and you know it. This is a bad one. It's cute, but I don't think it necessarily gets across what your business is there. So anyway, I wish I could hear people laughing.
Your business is you want to meet a fine lady, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It was funny because when my husband read that, he was like, "Oh, I get it." Carly Rae, Carly Rae Jepsen, I think it was, who sang that song. Oh gosh, I'm really like dating myself pretty bad when I said. Okay, so but yeah, it's cute, but just an example of something maybe if you want to date, but not necessarily for business. Okay. Anyway, I'm so glad to hear somebody.
Hey, Carol, I have a message from Alexandra Parnell that says she would be happy to help people with branding and design. She's got a ton of experience.
Great.
Not sure if that's, and so I'll put her email in the chat, everybody.
That's great. That's great. Because believe it or not, when, just even going to TRIA, I'm telling you, there's a ton of people that go and they don't have any form of contact to leave with somebody, in any at all. And you kind of talk to somebody and you're having that conversation with them for 10, 15 minutes, give or take, or maybe it's during that quick, how many minutes is it that you guys give us when we do that? You split up and you do the networking. It's not very long. It's like very fast, maybe a minute or two. So you have to really speak very quickly to make an impression. And I'll have a conversation with somebody. It's great. And I'm like, great. How do I get a hold of you? And they're like, oh, I don't have any cards. And then it happens and it happens and it happens. And I'm like, wow, so you kind of wonder, like, are they?
And Matthew Alalio has just given us a link he says it's a great alternative for digital business cards.
Great. Awesome. So all great ideas. So just basically the whole point of this discussion right now is to leave somebody with a way to contact you. And if at all possible, win-win, get their information so that you can follow up with them as well. It's huge. Okay. So what's next? So what do you say when you have that opportunity, that 30 seconds? So one of the things I've actually taught elevator pitch classes, and we've done workshops in person and had people come up and try it on another person and all of this. And the thing that I think is the hardest for people to kind of like realize is you're not saying things to them to state what you need. They don't care. They want to know what you can do for them. So you have to think that way when you're developing your elevator pitch, your intro. So they don't know, they don't care what you want. You want distressed properties, that's great. So, everybody wants that. So how are you going to stand out, right? So I have two examples here. One, I'm looking for distressed homes in wherever. Do you have any? I'm looking for a flip house or a buy and hold. And they're like, okay, well, yeah, if you're at a TRIA meeting or any real estate investing meeting, everybody's there looking for that. So you have to somehow put yourself in a different position or, way to have an impact. So you want to flip it around. So you want to talk to them about what you can offer to them if they bring you something. So I'm in the area looking to purchase a fixer upper in the next week. So that's get a sense of urgency, a sense of purpose. You're doing it right away. This is what you're doing. You want to be part of it, kind of thing. That's your implication, right? If you want to know, if you know of one, I'm sorry, I'll pay you a $300 whatever referral fee if I purchase it. So make sure you put that in there because it's definitely tied to it. If you just say, I'll give you a $300 referral fee or whatever amount, if you give me a referral and you don't buy it, they're still going to expect that money. So you have to definitely disclose that it's if you purchase the property. And then this is the way. So can I text you my contact card? So even just, can I text you my contact information, so that now you have their name and phone number and they have yours. And then you can maybe end it out with, who couldn't use or who can't use an extra $300, who knows, maybe you'll send me one once a month. That's just one stab at a way of breaking the ice. So that gives them something to think about. You now have their contact information, but you'll need to develop your style, your words, of course. And you want it to be pretty to the point. 30 seconds or less is a good, time frame. Also practice it on people that your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your daughter, in the mirror, whatever. Practice it. Believe me, it is worth it. And one of the things with this is, I was watching this YouTube video from the Stanford Graduate Business School. It was a professor who was talking about what they call impromptu or non-presentation speaking. So what he was referring to is, if you're sitting in a classroom and you get called on, how do you handle that? How can you overcome the anxiety and all of that? And it's very similar to when you're in a networking situation and either you participate and you do it, or you sit and you kind of pass it by or let it pass you by because you're a little too nervous to do it. So he said something that I thought was worth sharing with you all. And it's just, you're going to have the anxiety. That's just what happens. It's, human. Mostly all of us do experience that. And once upon a time on Jerry Seinfeld, when the Seinfeld show was actually on television, he had this joke, and he said that more people would rather be in the casket at a funeral than delivering the eulogy. That's how afraid they are of public speaking. So it's very difficult to overcome it. But in a situation like this, when you're online speaking or if you're in person, so what he said is this really, really cool presenter who gave these tips. He said that, you're going to experience that anxiety. So address the anxiety and just say, okay, I'm feeling my stomach hurts and my hands are sweating or whatever. My temperature is going up, my heartbeat's racing. Just address it and say, okay, that's just because I'm anxious, because I'm nervous. And then it won't escalate according to the studies. It won't escalate it any further. It actually will kind of stop at that moment and start to reduce down, because you're now like, you've acknowledged it. So you own it, and once you do that, you're kind of at the point of, okay, now I can do this. I can move to the next step and move forward. So I hope that helps a little bit. Okay. All right. So next, learning your craft. So really, it comes down to the confidence with the knowledge, like we talked about earlier. So do you know how to evaluate a deal? There are classes and presentations, I should say, through TRIA that have been delivered in the past, and I'm sure will be coming up again. My advice to anybody is to learn how to do that. You don't know if you have a deal if you don't know how to evaluate it. You have to be able to run the comps, yourself. Learn, how to pull the sold comps as compared to, afters and befores, after repair value. What is the formula for after repair value? There's a lot of wonderful resources that you can learn all these things. And I'm sure that TRIA, Lionel will tell you, like it said in the announcements in the beginning, if you're looking for a mentor, contact him, send him an email. And, there's a mentoring program available, but also there's other great resources too. It doesn't beat having a mentor, I can tell you that, because it's not the same as being able to call somebody and getting advice real time and locally. But, you have to really know what you're doing when it comes to evaluating a deal. How do you find the deal? Is it valuable? Am I going to lose money or not? Who do I hire? Do I have to bring in a contractor to walk it with me? Do I have to pay that contractor? What if I buy a deal and I don't make money and I fail? all the people who I told that I was going to do this business, you know, with, I talked about it with, they're all going to judge me and they're going to say, wow, you failed, you know, and how's that going to make you feel? You know, all of those fear of success, fear of failure, you know, all of those things actually do play a huge part in this process, you know. So do you need a mentor? You want to ask yourself that. And where do you learn? There are so many wonderful resources, as we said. Going through TRIA obviously is my first recommendation, but there's also, sorry, I have to drink a little bit of water. There's also things like biggerpockets.com, where they have estimator tools on there for all kinds of business models and deals. Sorry, I think I'm gonna actually have to get a cough drop real quick. Sorry. So the next thing, sorry, it's a good thing I'm at work and I have cough drops in my drawer. Okay, so the next thing is you want to develop a business plan. If you go on to this resource, which is wonderful, which is the sba.gov, there are two different formats. One of them is called a lean startup, which I picked for you all in this outline because I think it is actually much more fitting as far as, you know, starting up with a real estate investing company. I guess, you know, I've just been working so hard and talking so much that my voice is starting to give out. So bear with me, I'm sorry. So these are the outline items. If you go onto sba.gov, key partnerships, you know, who you're going to be talking to, working with, getting advice from, interviewing people who are already doing it is actually a really great thing to do. What are the key activities, you know, in developing your business plan? What are they going to be involved with? The resources, value. What are you proposing your value to be? What relationships, what type of customers, you know, what all of those things, you know, cost structure, revenue streams, it's all right there. I couldn't possibly go through an entire business plan, you know, outlined with you. So I just thought that might be a better source for you to go to. And they actually also offer loans and funding and really great counseling. So I hope you find that to be helpful. Okay. How to create a startup budget for your business. Again, when people think of opening a real estate investing business, I don't think that they necessarily think about how much money do I need to spend to start my entity to get, you know, leads. Do I need to, you know, get signs? Do I have to pay for a website? Do I have to get business cards? Like all those things, those cost money, right? So that's what the budget's all about. So in that business plan, there's a section of a budget and a marketing budget that is in there. So you actually you can go right to this website here. It's called the Balance smb.com, and it has to do with creating your business budget for a startup. So it's a wonderful resource. It's free to my knowledge. And so they can kind of work you through all of that on there. So that is something you want to think about, is what is the money commitment and how is it going to all play out over the course of a year to 2 years, okay, minimally. All right, so everyone always talks about building your team with REI, right? Just like with any business. So you definitely are going to need to do that. You have to have somebody that you trust, that is, you know, that can handle your legal matters, your attorney that can counsel you. Hopefully, you know, you'll have a mentor, a real estate agent or broker that can help you with deals, keeping in mind that you always want to do your own due diligence when it comes to comps and you know, just all of that. It's really important for you to know those numbers and not rely on somebody else for them, because, you know, their goals aren't the same as your goals. The realtor, they're going to be getting in a commission, possibly on the purchase and on the resale. So, you know, you want to look at those things and make sure that you are comfortable with those numbers and that you can really understand them. You need an accountant, obviously. Contractors. That's for us, that has been one of the hardest things to find reliable contractors that show up and that charge competitive rates. So working with contractors, once you find them and you let them know, this is your scope and they're all bidding on the same scope, apples to apples, it puts you in a better position. But out of all the people on this list, the one that typically tries to drive your bus more than any other is the contractor. They'll walk the job with you and they'll try to upsell you on value adds, or this has to be done this way, or, and then pretty soon you're kind of walking behind them and they're taking control. Yes, you want to listen to them to some degree, if they're a GC especially, but at the same time, you have to be able to factor in like, okay, this is making sense, this isn't making sense. Trust your gut, your intuition, but don't let that, any of these other people drive
So
your
Sarah,
bus.
while you're on that topic of GC, I was flipping through the networking page, and Allie
Mhm.
Parnell, who's actually on the meeting here tonight, is asking for a recommendation for a GC who would be willing to walk through with her to evaluate a possible flip. She has an option on in Wake Forest. So Allie's on the meeting. So if anyone has anything for her, stick it in the chat or ask to unmute and we'll hook you up. Sorry, Cheryl, but it just seemed
Oh, no,
like a
you're
good point to interject.
I'm really glad that you jump in like that. That's awesome. Just since we're on it for a quick second, one of the things that we come across a lot, because our clients call us because we're a property management company and we also do renovations. So we have renovations with contractors that we farm out to them, people that we've worked with a lot. And what I always try to qualify it when I first get their phone call. They'll say, hey, I have a property. I wanted to know if you could walk the property, tell me what you think, and give me an estimate on the repair costs. So a lot of times they're not local, so we'll go and do that. But my question out of the gate is, do you have it under contract, or are you is it preliminary to an offer? Are you looking at it to consider buying it? So how I approach that is very different. If I am just going to look at it to kind of give it a quick, look at the area, curb appeal, all of that, and then walk the property just to see roughly how much is it going to cost? Are the numbers going to work? Is it worth doing more work to actually develop a scope? If they're in that preliminary offer phase, before they, submit the offer, then usually what I tell them is I'll go and take a look at it. I'll give you, a verbal rough number so that, you just have an idea that you can plug in. Once you get it under contract, we can go back and develop a scope of work, hopefully based on the home inspection that they get, so that then we can take their home inspection and create the scope and then put numbers to that scope. So I don't know if that's something that's helpful, but we find it to be helpful for us because we're not out there developing the scope for every single house somebody's considering purchasing, and it's better to do that scope obviously during the due diligence phase, just to make sure that, they can have a really good, estimate that's solid, and they can actually submit that to their lender too. So, all right. So the next on the list is property manager. You want to interview them over the phone or in person, and call more than one. Ask about, so many things, having to do with fees, renewal fees. Do you get charged for management fees when the place is vacant? And I can tell you in our case, we don't charge that because that we're not incentivized to get that leased up as fast. If you're getting paid to manage something that's sitting there, I want our goal to be the same one. So that's something I would definitely ask if you're interviewing a property manager that's outside of the Fayetteville and surrounding area. If you're doing something here, of course, who to call. Okay, so, but ask about all those fees, renewal fees, all those things. You want to make sure you have a good manager on your team. And do you want a partner, an investor? Do you want to share the financial burden? Do you want, all of that. If that's the case, you want to actually look into some joint venture partnership agreements just to make sure you very clearly state what the expectations are for both parties as far as financial and time and all of that. So definitely think about, a JVP agreement. If you are looking at having a partner / investor, believe it or not, even if it's your own spouse. So it's a good thing to just have that conversation. Okay. There might not be somebody on this list that is needing to be on your team. So who's missing on your team? And then just as I said before, it's, you got to drive your own bus and control it, because if you don't and you let other people control it, it goes off the rails pretty fast. Okay. All right. So questions. I would love to hear any that you have. I apologize for my voice kind of cutting out in the middle there, but I think I'm good now. So.
Anyone have any questions? Oh, let's see. I might have some. Let's see.
I have a question
Oh,
for Allie.
Lionel, Allie, yeah, go ahead. But first of all,
For Allie.
Allie, with Lionel, Lionel says he's in Franklinton throughout the week. And Amber Lehman says Kusan Construction is not the cheapest, but does great work and reliable. Sorry, go ahead, Nate.
I was just wondering how you found that potential deal. Was it off market or was it on MLS? Or
It was on MLS through
Okay.
a realtor that I've connected with. I don't know if it's going to work out or not. The number, yeah, just I'm still evaluating if it's even worth.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've just been looking at stuff in Raleigh and Durham mostly, and I don't know if I'm running the numbers correctly, but everything on the MLS doesn't really seem like it's making sense to me. I don't know if that's a common theme for everybody or if maybe I'm doing it wrong or.
Because you're on the MLS.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but how are you, what is your search criteria on the MLS?
I was just kind of looking, or well,
You
I
have
was really
MLS
on-
access?
I don't have MLS access. I was on Realtor.com. I have a realtor. I have to ask her to narrow down the search criteria for me.
Yeah, you need to be very specific about your search criteria. Otherwise, you're not going to get squat off the MLS.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You're looking for, there's certain key phrases that you're looking for that the listing agent will post in the remarks. Something that picks up days on market is a good teller. I'm sure, hopefully, if you've got a good agent, that's what they're looking at is days on market. Also,
Amber Lehman, who's in the meeting, it says she's a realtor. She works with investors and would be happy to help. So hit her
there
up.
you go.
Go ahead.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
she
Nate,
might be able to narrow down a search for you there, Nate.
Hey, Nate, also, those deals, some of the deals on MLS, I know you've been in some of the meetings, so if you got a GC, I don't know how expensive it'll be, but if it's in a good neighborhood, just look at also of adding square footage to it and help with the ARV. So, because I've told you before, a lot of deals on the MLS, they're just not gonna work for you. You have to force appreciation. So if you're in a neighborhood where you can do that, I've done that quite a bit where I've forced appreciation to get the ARV up, and then those deals that typically would not work, if you do that, then they'll work for you. But you got to watch the numbers on it, and if you're going to force appreciation, that's going to be how you can get deals off the MLS. You have to force the appreciation on it if
Have
the
you ever-
neighborhood supports it.
Have you ever turned a single family home into a duplex? Is that if it's zoned for it? Is that something?
I do them the other way around.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to watch your zoning. Definitely.
Okay.
Anything else, Kath?
But Lee, why don't you go over the upcoming meeting? You didn't get to do it.
Oh, okay. I guess if there's no more questions, everybody kind of got the general idea there. That's a good thing.
Or
And
if
that's
there is more
also,
questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. We can get to them when Leslie's done. If you have more questions, you don't have to stop.
I gotcha.
Is there
Alrighty.
anywhere that people can get a hold of the slides and all the links in the slides?
From tonight's meeting?
Yeah, yeah.
Cheryl, are you okay with sending?
Oh,
the slide?
yeah, totally. I know that you guys had normally posted it on the, for members or people that registered for the meeting, right? They have access to it for a limited time or something like that?
Yeah, but sometimes it takes us a while to get the video up there. So if you're willing to share slides.
Oh, yeah, of course, of course.
We
You know what?
can,
The easiest way is honestly, just email me and I'll shoot you back the link, if that's okay. So I had my
Cheryl,
email.
Did you put your email up there, Cheryl?
I did. I can put
She
it up
did.
again.
She
Yeah.
had it on the share screen, but that's come down.
Yeah, I can go back to that right now. Okay, there you go. So it's pretty direct. It's Cheryl at patriotrealestateservices.us.
There you go. Okay.
So yeah, I'm happy to share that. Just, give me a little bit of time to, shoot it back over, because usually after presentations, I typically get questions and things that come through. So usually, within the first 24 hours, I typically can get back to everybody.
Cool.
Okay.
If you guys have more questions, feel free to keep asking. I'm just gonna, while you're typing them, Leslie's gonna.
Anything relating to starting the REI business, especially where this is new investors. I think a lot of times people are nervous about admitting that they have a question or they don't know exactly what to do in a particular area. So any questions, okay, of course.
Yep.
Of course, to any of us, actually. I mean, if
Right.
you want to reach out to anybody, that's what we're here for. So if you've got a question about something you're not quite sure about, don't feel that it's a silly question, because seriously, nothing is silly in this business. So
I have a
if you've
question.
got an issue or you got a deal and you need some help with it, then please just reach out, Cheryl or Lionel or me or whoever.
Yeah, we're always happy to help you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, just shoot us an email and we'll be happy to walk through stuff with you. As far as
Leslie, I
upcoming-
heard someone say that they have a question.
It's me. Yeah, sorry. Are you,
I'm glad.
Oh, May,
is that okay?
hey.
Yeah.
Hello,
Um,
hon.
I find that a lot of lower price property is so hard to win the bidding war now. Even though you have cash in to buy the deal, is there any tips? Of course, those are from MLS, right? It's not off market
Nope.
view.
No tips there, because that's the market we're in right now. That's exactly the market we're in right now. And because the inventory is low, it's a dogfight, and it's your tolerance is what it is. And if the numbers make sense, if you are forced into a multiple bid situation and then the numbers don't make sense, don't think you're going to make them make sense, because they won't.
Mm.
So don't
If
don't
you have a
enter a
cash
deal.
offer, you're always in a better position for consideration, of course.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can, but then there's the cash offer, there's the no contingencies offer, there's the fast closing offer, there's the all of the above offer, and the people will still go with more money.
Yeah, 10,000 due
So-
diligence.
It just depends. It depends on your tolerance and whether the numbers make sense, but you have to do your due diligence. You need to, estimate your repairs, get your numbers correctly, because don't just make an offer or hope to win a bid on a property because you want it or you need it. That never turns out good.
No, if you're
Don't
trying
do
to get the deal for,
Amber, oh wait, put that to everyone, never mind. Yeah, as Amber pointed out in the chat, high due diligence. If you are in a competitive bidding situation, that's really worth it. That money talks. High due diligence is a good way to put yourself in front of the pack.
Exactly. And that's what I do. I offer huge due diligence because that's non-refundable, and no earnest money because that's refundable. So it doesn't really, you can back out of the deal and get your earnest money back, but you cannot get your due diligence back. So if you put in a big due diligence offer and no contingencies, chances are they're going to look at it, but you need to be very, very sure of your numbers. Be very sure of
the
your
first-
numbers, because you do that, you're locked in. And once you're locked in, then
money's
you're going to be sorry if you're not correct.
and that's where those contingencies come in handy, by the way.
Yeah, in the first prep rehab house that we sold this summer. The class put the rehab the house and put it up for sale. And they had multiple offers the same day above asking price. I think they had 3 or 4 right substantially above asking price, like 15,000 above asking price. And the one that they chose had a $15,000 due diligence,
Mhm.
non-refundable. So, because
Exactly.
when someone's putting down that money that they
They're
know they're
buying
not
the
getting
house.
back.
They're buying the
Yeah,
house.
so if they come back to you with a bunch of repair requests and you say no, they're still gonna buy the house
still
because they're
buying the
not gonna
house.
lose 15,000.
I had a $10,000 due diligence and a quick close, and that's the offer I went with, because I know darn well they're closing. They are not backing out on $10,000. So that often in a multiple bid situation, that will win you more favor, is if you up the ante on the due diligence. And the earnest money is just, it's secondary, because obviously if you back, for any reason you back out of the deal, you do get a refund on that. But the due diligence, it doesn't matter what you do, you don't get that back unless they do something really stupid.
I see something in the chat room. Somebody wants to know if I say I'm in the Fayetteville area? Yes, I am. I'm in the Fayetteville and surrounding area. So we moved into this market specifically to take advantage of the buy and hold, because this, demographic here, over 55+% of people actually rent. So that's why we're here, building our own portfolio and managing properties for our clients. So yes, I'm in the Fayetteville and surrounding area.
All right, awesome, as always, Cheryl. Again, don't feel like we're cutting you off. If you have any more questions, send them. But right now, Leslie's gonna tell you what we have
Oh
up
God, I'm still doing that?
next week. Yeah, you can't get out of it that easy.
Oh, come on. Give me
Because
a
y'all,
break
the
here.
main meeting next week,
The
is the Wolf
main
Couple.
meeting, the main
if
event.
you haven't seen the Wolf Couple, y'all, they are like their name's Wolf, and they take advantage of that. They literally howl at meetings, and
Entertainment value, if nothing else.
They run
Entertainment
around like
value,
crazy
because these people are
people.
craziness. They are craziness, but they know their stuff. You will learn a ton from these people. And did that email go out, Kathy? Do you know if that email went out, the one that we got?
Today, I think I did
with
see
their-
it today. There's also on the
form.
Facebook page and the Tree and Networking group, there's a little video of them.
Yeah, but there's a form that they want you to fill out. If you're working on a deal right now, or you have something, did we put that out? Because we
I
need to.
think I saw an email today. I didn't read it, so I don't know, but I
Okay.
will read it and I'll put that on the socials as well.
Yeah, it'll be coming out. There's a form that they have that if you're working on a deal, they just want some information. And if you send that back to them before the meeting next Tuesday, they will literally get your seller on the phone and work the deal for you. They do this all the time, and they are crazy. And
I've
majority of the
seen-
time, they will close the deal for you. So if anybody's working on something, and we're going to send out that form as the information that they need, and they will want to get your seller on the phone live, and they will work the deal for you. And they are immensely successful at what they do. It's all about the creative finance. They will work a deal, even when it seems like it's impossible, they will find a way to do it. So you got to be on the main meeting next Tuesday night at 6:30 with Brian and Lynette Wolf, because they're nuts. Seriously, people, they are nuts, but they are very, very good at what they do, and you will learn a lot. And then of course, Thursday, we've got our first rep meeting, which is all about how to fill out a offer contract, Kath? Oh God, there she goes. She's gone underwater. Anyway, she's done good up to this
Offer
point.
to purchase.
Offer to purchase contract. So that's the first virtual prep meeting in anticipation of doing some live stuff with you guys. So definitely next week is going to be a good one. So sign up early, please.
You guys broke up a little bit, but I think it was an offer to purchase. That's what we're gonna learn about.
Yeah, how to
Is that
fill out an
the
offer
same-
to
How to
purchase
fill out-
contract is the first prep. Yeah,
Is that
next
the-
Thursday.
Is
Yep.
that the same as a purchase and sale agreement, or is that different?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
yes, yeah. Purchase and sale agreement is the kind of the MLS term.
Okay, Gotcha.
or the realtor term. But anyway,
All right,
Yes.
Andrew, do you want to wrap it up? Andrew.
I'm here.
Andrew.
unmute.
Okay,
Got me.
it's all yours,
you go.
baby. Come to bed.
Yeah, no, Cheryl, first and foremost, thank you.
Bonus.
I think everything on here, I was actually just telling her, like, it put everything in a different perspective than you hear on like a Bigger Pockets. It takes everything from the thought of just like thinking of buying, flipping a rental house as like a one-off investment, and kind of turns it into the idea of like, hey, this is a whole business that you're putting in place. So again, Cheryl, thank you for the
Whoop, whoop.
perspective change.
Alrighty. I think we are done, folks. If there's no more, is there any more questions? Nope.
Can I ask one more question? I know I
Sure.
always have so many questions. and I
You
kinda
always have a
forget,
lot of
but-
questions, Nate, but we're used to that, so
Alright.
knock yourself out.
By the
So-
way, I love questions, just saying.
Okay.
Love them.
So I've been riding my bike around trying to find off-market deals, and
Cool.
I've been riding through Durham a little bit,
Yeah.
and I want to find a house that I can buy off-market and rehab and house hack to live in. But I'm finding some areas are kind of not where I want to live, but I'm still writing the house numbers down and everything to, I was wondering if it would be possible to wholesale the ones that I don't necessarily want to live at.
Of
And
course, all day long.
because I've recently
Absolutely.
heard that that might be like illegal, or I think like bird dogging's illegal, and I don't really know.
No.
All right,
okay.
really quickly, bird dogging.
Definition of bird dogging. Listen to the
Bird
legal person.
dogging is if someone pays you to do that and you don't have a real estate license. If another wholesaler pays you to bring those deals, okay? As a wholesaler, if you get the property under contract and assign that contract to someone else, perfectly legal. If you want to talk more about it, I have had a client be sued by the real estate commission for it, and it's not illegal.
That's good to know.
Oh, no,
No,
if it's your own, but it's
someone
when
else is paying
somebody
you
else
to
is
do
paying
it.
for it.
Yeah, that's
So,
bird dogging, and that is
That's
So-
illegal.
bird dogging.
so I can
That's
go
illegal.
out, I can get it them like under a purchase and sale agreement, and
Mhm.
then just
Mhm.
assign it to somebody else without actually buying the property outright first, and it's still,
Correct.
okay,
Exactly.
And
Nate,
there are
Nate,
various ways to do that. A matter of fact, that's what I have on my list for one of the prep topics is how to do a wholesale, how to get in and how to get out.
okay.
yeah.
But also, next Thursday, you gotta know how, the correct way to fill out an offer you gotta know the verbiage on the offer contract, so you
Yeah.
better be on next Thursday's meeting, please.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
definitely.
I was
be
just
here.
gonna say the exact same thing. I was like, you make sure you
Anybody
fill it
that's
out right.
wholesaling, be on the meeting next Thursday.
And Nate, Matthew Lalio is asking how to connect with you. You might want to put your email in the chat.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I just made
Thanks,
one
Nate.
for finding houses.
Cool. See? Networking at its
Well,
finest.
Can I
Right
just say
there.
one last thing? It's really great to see how many faces, how many people are
Thank
showing
you.
their
No,
faces.
y'all are doing so much better with your camera.
Yep.
It is so nice.
Yeah,
Good to see you
Amber,
all.
yeah, it's awesome.
I
I
was
think
just
every
thinking
meeting we see more faces, right?
yeah, we do. It's great.
Getting better.
So when we get
every
back in
time.
person, we gotta know who you is. And we can say,
Okay.
hey, I
Peace
recognize
out.
you.
Wait, Nate did not get his, Nate, I didn't see your email in the chat.
Oh.
Did you put,
You send it to everyone?
I might have not sent it to everybody, sorry.
yeah,
Hold on.
click on everyone, so in case
Oh.
anyone else wants it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll hang out long enough to let that come through.
Send it out
There's my
there
email.
and great
Alright, there it
meeting,
is.
Yeah,
guys.
and if anybody wants to help me figure out how to analyze a deal correctly, that would be awesome, but I can help you do something if I can do anything for you, I don't know.
That's gonna be another prep topic, Nate, so you're right. Look, prep's gonna be popular.
Prep is
yeah.
gonna be huge.
right,
Anything else you
everyone.
want, Nate, send us an email. We'll get to do a
Yeah.
prep meeting on it.
Thank you
That's right, Nate. You're gonna be our source for ideas.
for questions. Yeah, I got plenty of questions, so.
What we need. We've been like racking our brains trying to figure out topics, so yay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so
All right.
much. Hope you all
Thanks,
have a great week.
everyone.
thanks,
Be
everyone.
safe.
Thanks,
See you
everybody.
next week
Thanks
on the
very much.
Wolves. Oh.
Oh my God, and it starts. It's gonna be that all night. Ow!
Maybe they've calmed down a little bit.
I don't, no. No, if
Remember,
anything,
she-
she's probably
I remember
gotten
one
worse.
time She had on these shoes like little kids wear with the flashing neon lights. And she was just running around the room in those flashing neon light shoes.
Yep. Just crazy. Handing out those little wolf, I still got one. I think it's in
I
my
still
car
have one
glove
too.
box or
It's
something.
a-
The little thing that
it's
went
like a-
around your wrist.
I'm just gonna,
Yeah, it's a stuffed animal, but the arms
Yeah.
have Velcroed and it's a wolf.
Yeah.
I know. They were so cute, but like, what the hell do you do with that?
on,
I know. She's crazy.
not letting me cut and paste it, his email.
It's absolutely nuts.
Leslie,
Okay.
um,
Yes, hon.
just
Make-
wondering,
make-
when you were doing the announcement, like which day we have what kind of workshop, I was just thinking it would be great if we have a slide, visual aid to show those, because I'm not an audio person. It's just easier if I can see that.
Oh,
And
yeah,
maybe
we can do
cooperate
that.
Yeah,
well.
we can do that, hon. Sure,
Yeah.
we can do that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and also
There's
if
one
you
in
go
there,
on
near
the
the
web,
file
on
cabinet.
the website, on the calendar, it'll show you all the dates too. And
Yeah, I
everything,
know
so-
that. I
Yeah.
usually go to the website to see it, but
Yeah.
for someone who is not familiar with the system, I
Okay,
just thought it may be easier if there's a visual aid. I was just going to offer myself to do it for you, but it looks like that you probably have something in place that you can do it. But just let me know if you need someone to quickly put a visual aid together. I do.
okay,
Yeah, I have
Maybe
all the
we have
software.
a slideshow that we show before every meeting. We'll just add a slide on there.
we'll
Yeah,
put a
that would be
slide in there
great.
so everybody can see. Great idea,
Yeah,
hon.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All right,
Thank
It's a really great
you.
idea. Thank you so
have a
much.
good evening.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
Bye.
Hey
Bye.
Nate, I just sent you a quick valuation thing, so you can look
Oh,
at
I
that.
think he's gone, Cheryl.
Oh, that's okay. I emailed it to him. It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Take
Good
care,
night.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right, just us chickens.
Just as chickens.
That was a great meeting, man. That was really good.
It was. She's
Lots of
amazing.
energy.
I don't know, but she's a freaking font.
Yeah, she is.
I don't know where it comes from, but it just comes out of her.
Yeah,
She's
and she's
amazing.
good and she's organized. But also that was really good because there was a lot of connection going on there, like we had a mini networking thing going on.
Yeah. Next
How
year,
it should
she's,
be. I
but
wish
next
they
year
were all
she's
like
on,
that.
she's on the freaking board next year. Just saying.
But I wish they were all like that, where people
Mhm.
just sort of look. Look
And
how
this
many
one here too. I wish they were all like him.
Who?
You.